Today, I'm here to talk to you about Cho'Gall. Cho'Gall is a bit of a different hero to the ones that I've been talking about in the CCS Development Days. This month, sadly that was cancelled, so I'm here in Windstriders instead. But Cho'Gall, he is one of my favorite heroes. He's my highest level hero, Cho, to be specific. I really enjoy him. I think he's a really cool character. And generally, it's just the most fun I've had in this game. Overall, in general. So who am I? I'm Mindhawk. Most people here know me. I used to play in Masters Clash. I'm a GM player, and I'm a recovering Cho addict. I'm a level 168 Cho, 69% win rate over 1.1k games. Considering you always need to be in a party to play this guy, that's quite a lot of games. I've played most of my Cho'Gall games with one of two Gall players, either Quasi here or Tristan, who sadly couldn't make it today. And yeah, let's get into it. So today I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to give you an overview of the hero, what are the hero's strengths and weaknesses. I'm going to go in depth into each ability. I'm going to go and talk a bit about all of the builds. I'm going to talk about which levels are power spikes and why they are. I'm going to talk a little bit about tips and tricks, including when to use Cho trait and how to communicate with each other. And then I'm going to be taking questions. And at the end of this, I will also be playing a quick match and commentating and asking and taking questions during that to showcase a lot of what I've been talking about today. So first of all, Cho'Gall. Cho'Gall, also known as Cho'Gall, is two assassins, especially in the recommended way that I like to play Cho'Gall and that I would recommend you to play Cho'Gall. Cho'Gall is drafted as two assassins. In competitive, this is different, but for Storm League purposes, quick match purposes, and for genuinely playing the hero, you should be drafting Cho'Gall as if you have two assassins. That means you want Cho'Gall, you want a tank, you want a healer, and you want an offlaner. So what is Cho'Gall good at and what is he weak at? His biggest weakness is that he's two heroes. He can't split himself across the map. If you want to take camps with Cho'Gall, it can't be Cho'Gall because then two people are missing from the lane. It's going to be really hard to take those lanes. Most of the time, Cho'Gall wants to be double soaking. However, Cho'Gall's team fighting is very, very, very strong. He has the most powerful late game of any hero, and not one of I would say he has the strongest late game of any hero, due to a multitude of factors, which I'll get into in a little bit. He is very good at double soaking. His buddy Gall has just enough damage to fully one-shot a wave, and fully one-shotting a wave is very strong, especially because Gall spends the highest cooldown he has is Cho's E. Cho is exceptionally strong at body blocking, which is also something that if you want to get into Cho'Gall, if you want to get good at Cho'Gall, this is something you really need to abuse. There's multiple reasons for why he is the best body blocker in the game, and that is that he has a very large hitbox. It's very easy to block someone's path. He has an ability that knocks people to the side and gets him through people. He has 3 ways to get movement speed. He can slow enemies, and his auto attack stutter step rhythm is very slow. He doesn't need to stand still a lot to get maximum auto attacks out of him. So all of this combines to a hero that is very, very strong at body blocking. Cho, as a hero, has quite a high skill cap. There's a lot of things to learn. There's a lot of things to keep in mind. There's a lot of communication involved when playing Cho, and Gall is playing an on-rails shooter. I like Cho more than Gall, gameplay-wise. So, Ogre Hide and Ogre Rage, which is Cho's D and Gall's D. In general, Cho's trait is superior to Gall's trait. I'm going to go a lot more into why and when you would use which trait, but in general, armor is just more useful than damage. And that is because Ogre Rage only gives Gall more damage. Now this can be good, but it also means that Cho'Gall is taking a lot more damage himself, because 25 armor is a lot, especially when it's permanent. And when you're able to survive, when you're able to stay in there because you have more health, because you're not at risk, you can do more damage because you can simply stay in there longer. Not to mention that Gall's trait doesn't increase Cho's damage, and Cho has a lot of damage, especially in his auto attacks. Cho's Q, Surging Fist, it's mainly a mobility tool, but keep in mind that it's interruptible. It's also one of the strongest body blocking tools in the game, in my opinion. It's also very abusable near walls, and I will showcase that in a little bit, but near walls, Cho's Q actually has normal hero pathing, so it will try to go around the wall, and this also means that you can actually get more distance covered with it if you're using it near a wall and you know how to. I will be showcasing this trick extensively after the presentation. Cho's W, Consuming Blaze. Blaze doesn't like getting consumed, but his W is a burst heal. It heals you for every target you hit around you, which if you're in, say, a Zerg wave, you hit like 30 targets at once, you actually heal for 30% of your life. It's mainly good to either use on waves or with the correct level 1 to heal from enemy heroes quite effectively. So it's a sustain heal because every auto attack against a hero with W on it gives you extra healing. And it also has some quite decent talents, especially on level 1 and level 7 for Cho. But it's not a damage tool. Keep that in mind. The damage on Consuming Blaze is actually rather low, and you don't care as much about getting the damage repeated when you're auto-attacking heroes with it. Though if you're doing a camp, for example, you should be keeping it up on every single minion for a little bit of extra DPS. But it's mainly for self-healing, and the more you keep the W up on enemies, the more liberty you have of attacking different targets to keep your healing up. Gall's Q, Shadow Flame, it's just Gall's auto attack. But unlike normal auto attacks, it's instant. It has 10.6 range, which is nearly double that of normal heroes, and it has 5% scaling. So the longer the game goes, the stronger Gall's abilities get just by numbers wise, which is really nice. This is also true for Cho's health bar and Cho's auto attacks, but those are 4.5%, and 5% is quite a bit better than that. Gall's Q is mainly just the main appeal to it is that it's undodgeable because it's instant. The only thing that makes you miss Gall Q is ping and playing bad. Dread Orb. Dread Orb is an ability that is quite weak on its own, but scales incredibly well when you get the right talents for it. It is hard to hit, especially when you don't have any talents, and you need W4 to hit this consistently and to double hit stuff like minions. Keep in mind the W targeting is kind of weird. It's dependent on how far your cursor is away from Cho'Gall. And I would really recommend to not have Dread Orb on Quick Cast, just because having the correct spread out of your orbs, especially if your W build, is just so important. But also keep in mind that you don't actually want to take too long to aim this, because it is a 6-second cooldown. You do want to be using this off cooldown. And while Cho is moving, and your cursor is very close to Cho, it will spaz out, so keep that in mind. Then, their E, Rune Bomb or Runic Blast. It is good burst. It is 300 damage. That is a half-length Leeming Orb, or a 70% length Leeming Orb. It is very good wave clear, and especially combined with Gall's W and Q, it is a wave clear breakpoint. Now what that means is that if you want to clear a wave, the most efficient way to do that is to kill the ranged minions and then auto attack the melee minions a little bit, and then you can already mount up and go to the next wave. Now a ranged minion in this game has 660 health at level 1, but Cho's E plus Gall's E together deal 300 damage, Gall's Q deals 150, and Gall's W deals 150. And together that actually one-shots ranged minions, which is really, really nice. Getting all of those abilities off on all 3 of the ranged minions is definitely possible and is something you should be attempting to do every time. Now, when you're using Rune Bomb, especially in team fights or near walls or near multiple targets, Cho usually wants to be communicating to Gall what he wants to hit. Because if Gall is hitting something completely different from Cho, you're spreading out your damage without really achieving anything. And keep in mind that a long-range Rune Bomb is very easy to dodge. The Rune Bomb itself is quite telegraphed, so you shouldn't be relying on hitting it from max range. But, for example, a minion wave is very reliable in where it will move. Towers don't move. But in short range, you can very easily hit heroes. Luckily, Cho has the tools to get into melee range. The ults. The first ult Cho has, Hammer of Twilight. It's a passive damage boost, and don't underestimate how much 25% auto attack damage is. It's also a stun. It adds a lot of burst to Cho because you can auto attack and immediately R for double normal auto attack damage. And it's also peel. You can save your teammates with it. You can interrupt enemy channels with it. You can get someone off of your Ana, for example. And the main thing Hammer of Twilight is just reliable. It's a very reliable knockback with quite a decent range and also a very large arc. The arc is 220 degrees, which means that you can hit heroes to both of your sides that are slightly behind you. Hitting R is really, really easy because of that. The other ult, Upheaval. Upheaval, the main reason you want Upheaval is because its cooldown is just immensely short for what it does. It's half of Twisting Never's cooldown, 40 seconds, but keep in mind it has lots of counterplay. When you're picking Upheaval, most of the time you're looking at more of bootleg stitches, catch enemies out of by surprise, get them out of position, burst someone down with Upheaval, get people into tower range, get people away from their healer, etc. But keep in mind it's telegraphed. It shows on the floor what's happening. I'd also like to keep in mind if anyone has any questions they can't wait to ask, voice chat is there for you. I will be reading that throughout. Shadow Meme Volley is Gall's first ultimate. Now, I call it Shadow Meme Volley because it has a big issue. And the big issue with Shadow Bolt Volley is that it's really unreliable. The actual damage, if you hit all 20 orbs on one person, is really, really high. It's 1,740 damage at level 0. And that translates to more than 3,000 damage by level 10. Now, the turning circle on Shadow Bolt Volley is enormous. You can only reliably hit this on things that aren't trying to dodge it. Now, if you're in a rank where people don't dodge it, good for you. But it's still just not something I think you should get used to. The main reason why I would pick Shadow Bolt Volley, or why I would tell Gall to pick Shadow Bolt Volley, is if we want siege. If we're in a game where we're not going to win through team fights. These are rare for Cho'Gall, but it is good for taking a boss quickly. It is good for taking forts and keeps quickly. But even in that role, for killing cores, for killing keeps, for getting boss, it is actually outclassed by spamming W at level 20 with all of the talents attached to it. Which brings us to the actual good ult for Twisting Never, for Gall, Twisting Never. Twisting Never is a 50% slow for 5 seconds. Now, a 50% slow is a lot. It enables Cho to auto-attack someone for 5 whole seconds without them really being able to do anything about it. If they use a blink to get away from him, you can either shove or you can Cho Q back to them. It's also really high burst on detonation. But keep in mind, you want to use your W before you activate Twisting Never, so you don't have a cooldown sitting in your hotbar while you're channeling it, because you can't do anything else during Twisting Never. But keep in mind how strong the slow is. You don't want to rush activating Twisting Never just because there's people in it. You want to detonate Twisting Never if the slow is either no longer useful, or if a burst will lead to a kill, or if someone's threatening, or if many people are threatening to leave your Twisting Never at once. Say people are going different directions, and it would severely cripple someone. Maybe you could kill them with a Q. But millions of Gall every year suffer from premature detonation of Twisting Never, please keep in mind and tell your goals that Twisting Never as a slow is already just incredibly powerful. Then we have Eye of Kilrog, Goal's activatable ability. It's just a ward, you want to use it in chokes, you want to use it from where the enemy can approach you. But keep in mind it doesn't get attacked by structures. So if, say there's a 1% health Vala behind the enemy towers, which you can't see but you think is still in Q range, Goal can put down an Eye of Kilrog to see exactly where she is and kill her with a Q. Also keep in mind, if you put this in a rotation path, for example, if an enemy ever enters the vision range of Eye of Kilrog, they will see the eye. They get vision of the eye if it sees them. And that does mean that you cannot ward, like a Junkrat could, by surprise. Enemies will always know that you've seen them with Eye of Kilrog. And the final ability Goal has is Shove. Now, I think Shove is worse than Hurry Up Oath, which was the Goal mount before the rework in 2018, but alas, times are what they are. We got downgraded to Shove. Now, Shove is a very nice ability. It's a speed boost. Keep in mind, it is not just a move, a dash. It is also a speed boost for Cho, and Cho can really, really abuse that. You can use it to dodge skill shots. You can use it to move you out of Mosh. You can use it to interrupt Imperious Q. Imperious' spear is completely removed from Cho if you shove during it. It used to be able to interrupt a massive shove, Stukov's ult, way back when. Sadly, that got hotfixed. But Goal never gets affected by CC, which means that if you're stuck in a mosh pit, Goal can just shove you out. However, in this case, do be sure to communicate to your Cho that you're about to shove him out, because Cho likely has an auto attack command queued on the ETC, which means he will walk right back in because he wasn't expecting it to get shoved, for example. Now, talking about builds, I don't think they have very much build variety. For Cho, the main build is auto attack build. The most competitive friendly build for Cho is Q build, and for Goal, W build is just flat out the best build at this moment. I will go into talents a little bit more later, the talents that aren't in these builds, but AA build. AA build looks roughly like this. It has a little bit of wiggle room in talents, but it's most powerful build in uncoordinated games. And yes, that includes Storm League and even up to Grandmaster Storm League. I think this is the most powerful build there. It has a very high skill expression, Cho sneaking in auto attacks everywhere he can. It has an extremely strong late game, the strongest late game build Cho has. It has very high DPS, it has very high sustain. It also still has decent burst, but this build is a melee assassin. This plays more like a Sonya, for example, or like a... What's a random melee assassin that auto attacks constantly? Like a Kira. And yes, I know those are offlaners, but they're also melee assassins. Cho plays not like a tank. He's not peeling for his teammates. He's not getting lots of vision. He's not cutting enemies off. He's a damage dealer. And in fact, in most games where you are playing this build, you will deal more damage as Cho than Goal is dealing in that game. Now, the actual Cho Tank Build, which I do not recommend for uncoordinated play. I think this build gets so much better if you are on the same line with your teammates. If you have to play safe, if the enemies are good players, and if you cannot be up in their face because they will actually punish you with isolation or whatever. And that is Q Build. So Q Build lets you fish with upheaval all the time. It's kind of like a Stitches Light. You have a Gall attached to it, and this really plays more like a main tank. You cannot have Q build Cho'Gall plus just Gall and no other assassin. That just doesn't have enough damage in your team to actually do anything with the isolation that upheaval is providing. And this build also suffers a lot from the fact that upheaval has a lot of counterplay. A lot of upheaval is telegraphed, so a lot of the heroes that Cho'Gall is seen to be weak against, such as Leoric, such as Anubarak, such as Tychus. They all have unstoppables in their own kit. Lots of heroes also have blinks. They also have healers, which can probably cleanse someone. And Upheaval is really easy to cleanse. Now, Upheaval is a short cooldown, and it is reduced at level 16 by auto-attacking whatever on the map. Keep in mind, the 16 auto-attack CDR does not need you to auto-attack heroes. You can auto-attack minions or mercs. But the actual utility, actual teamfight impact this build provides is simply lower than the auto-attack build, which is why I don't recommend it for playing with randoms. And then there's one Gall build, because it's just so OP. Now, this used to be more OP. The strong part about this build is that there is very, very, very little counterplay when you're playing against a Gall with this build. So this build scales incredibly well into the late game. Gall gets constant AoE stuns, little mosh pits on a very short cooldown. It has incredibly strong siege, and with Twilight Frenzy, the level 20 that reduces your W cooldown to 2 seconds. If you reach the enemy core, you can literally kill it in 10 seconds. Or at least bring it to 50% health by yourself. It is really, really dumb. And if you can't get to that core, well, you can just mosh pit their enemy team for 6 seconds because you have Twilight Frenzy. Power spikes. These are, I think, the power spikes on Cho'Gall. And you'll see that it's very, very late game oriented. So the most powerful spike I see in Cho'Gall's kit is Gall's level 16 Leaden Orb. And what that does is it causes his W to stun. But Gall himself can never be CC'd. He will always be able to spam these stuns. And that makes it so that it is very frustrating to play against a Cho'Gall. You constantly get your movement speed denied, you can't channel anything. If he's in melee range, he will auto-attack you, stun you, keep auto-attacking you, stun you with the second bounce, auto-attack you. Maybe you get out of the third bounce, but then Cho goes and knocks you back in with a hammer. It is really disgusting to play against. At level 20, Cho gets ranged auto-attacks, and that is really undervalued. Keep in mind that going from a melee to a range is just so incredibly strong. Imagine if Zeratul could spec into being a ranged assassin. There would just be much less counterplay. Or imagine the opposite. If Vala became a melee assassin, she would become so much worse. And that is what getting ranged auto attacks on a hero that does insane amounts of auto attack DPS like Cho does. It doesn't even only make his auto attacks ranged, but it also gives him a slow, so you can never run from Cho'Gall again after level 20. And that is not even including the stuns from Leaden Orb. And the other side of the coin is that Gall also gets an overpowered level 20 in Twilight Frenzy. So Gall can mosh pit the enemy team, he can output insane amounts of damage. All the while Cho is auto-attacking non-stop because he doesn't even have to get into melee range anymore to hit them. Then you'll notice that the third biggest power spike is Hardened Shield at level 13. Now keep in mind, Hardened Shield is a very powerful talent, but this isn't just Hardened Shield. This is Hardened Shield at a half cooldown. Cho gets Twilight Veil, which is Hardened Shield, which most tanks have at level 20, and is seen as I can't die for 4 seconds button, but he gets it at a 30-second cooldown, which is just insane. Cho can at any point decide to just go in, be invulnerable for 4 seconds, and go back out. And then at level 10 are his ultimates, which I think are also very, very strong, by the way. It gives Cho'Gall Peel, it gives him Burst, it gives him lots more damage, it gives Gall an incredibly strong tool for following up with Cho, or following up on Upheaval, depending on which build you have. And then at 16, we have Nano Boost, we have Stim Drone, because Cho can get a 75% attack speed boost for 5 seconds every time he Qs, which is literally a Stim Drone, but he gets it for himself on a 12-second cooldown, and it is his 5th biggest power spike. And then at level 4 you have Seared Flesh, which makes Cho's auto attacks chunk for 60% more damage. But keep in mind just how many power spikes his hero has and how well they synergize with each other. Cho'Gall is an absolute beast if he gets to 20. And lots of the time when you think, oh, this hero is going to shit on Cho'Gall, well, that might be true until he gets some of his power spikes, in which case he doesn't care anymore. Now, one more thing that I want to talk about is Gall's trait versus Cho's trait. So Cho's trait ideally is active anytime you are taking damage, because when you are taking damage and it's not being reduced, it hurts too much. You cannot stay in there. You want Gall's trait active when it is very safe, but keep in mind, after Gall activates his trait, Cho cannot activate his trait for 5 seconds, meaning that for those 5 seconds, Cho'Gall is really, really vulnerable to being dived, to being engaged on, to being forced to lose like half of his health pool, when normally he would only lose 35% of his health pool. This is why I recommend, especially when you're not certain on how to use it, to only activate Gall's trait out of teamfights, when there's no one around. When you know that for the next 5 seconds, Cho is not going to be taking damage. Now, Gall's trait is very useful for confirming kills. If you have a rune bomb going to someone, and that's the last damage you can deal to them, or maybe a Q, or a Twisting Never on a 30% health hero, increasing that by 25% can be very, very impactful. And especially post 13, thank you, Colin, Cho can immediately take the trait back after this burst of damage from Gall, because Cho's Hardened Shield overrides Gall's trait, and it can be activated even if his normal trait is on cooldown. Now that is very, 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 very good. It's very important, because it means that Cho can go in, auto attack someone, he can Q in, Gall activates Twisting Never, slows everyone in the fight for by 50%. Cho is auto attacking everyone this entire time, and then when Gall activates his ult, he presses D, he presses ult, and Cho immediately switches to 75 armor. Everyone just took a big fat chunk of damage. Everyone is already super low from being auto-attacked on, and Cho is basically invulnerable because he has 75 armor. But keep in mind, if Cho is in a team fight, Gall should never activate his trait mid-team fight unless you are in the backline, because it locks out Cho's trait, and Cho is an incredibly squishy hero without his trait. Communication. About his trait, Cho decides where the hero is going. Cho, a lot of the time, should be calling when Gall can D, especially when it's in a semi-risky situation. For example, if you're in lane and you're against 2 people and you want Gall to activate his trait to detonate an E on someone, you want to call that out to Gall, because you know as Cho that you're not going to go in the next 5 seconds, but Gall might not know that. So tell that to your Gall. Your E, Cho should be communicating what he wants to hit. If he wants to hit the tower, if he wants to hit the wave, if he wants to hit a specific hero, he should be calling that. And in general, Cho should be calling targets so Gall can focus the same hero that you want to focus. And this doesn't always have to be the same target that you are auto-attacking as Cho'Gall. For example, a lot of the time, I will be auto-attacking their tank, which is relatively safe to do, while their Ana is behind the tank. But while I'm auto-attacking the tank, I'm simultaneously getting him low, so he wants to retreat. But I am also building up my Seared Flesh, the 60% damage boost on my hero. And while I'm building up that 60% auto attack boost, that sticks around if I switch targets. So maybe I actually want to kill the Ana in the backline, and I will tell my Gall, hey, go hit the Ana, while I'm hitting Muradin. And then I will suddenly charge Q, hop onto Ana, auto attack her 2 times, ult her, Cho's ult, and she dies. Because she was half health because Gall was hitting her. And that's really, really nice. Shove, most of the time, Cho should be calling where you want to shove. Especially if you want to retreat in a team fight. I will often call to my Gall, shove right, shove up, shove down, shove left. Because I know where I want to go as Cho. or shove in, shove out. Whatever works for you and your Gall. Gall should also be thinking about and looking where he wants to put down his eyes. If Cho isn't getting into a position where where Gall can put down an eye, Gall should tell his Cho, hey, can I put down an eye here, and then ping there, so that Cho can move a little bit in that direction, plump down the eye, and go back to whatever Cho is normally doing. And also keep in mind, Gall usually isn't actually doing all that much. Gall can keep looking at the minimap, and he can make macro decisions. So he can call out, hey, mid lane is being attacked, or hey, we're missing soak here. Because Gall simply doesn't have as much to do. He doesn't have to think about positioning. He doesn't have to think about dodging skill shots, etc. Which frees up a lot of brain space for Gall. However, sadly, most of the Galls I've played with are simply not as good at the game. So keep that in mind. Obviously, if you have a weaker player on your team, Cho'Gall is a nice hero for that, because Gall simply isn't as hard to play. Tips and tricks. When something goes wrong, always blame Gall. That is my philosophy. I'm sticking to it. If you are in melee range and you are next to a hero and you want to hit them with E, as soon as you see Cho's E animation, Gall can hold E to instantly detonate the bomb as soon as it becomes available to detonate. You don't have to mash it. You don't have to roughly time when it becomes available. You can just hold the E button. Also importantly, hold Twisting Never Slow until an enemy is about to escape. You don't want to waste the 50% slow on your ultimate. It is extremely strong, especially because it's on a hero that has extremely strong auto attacks. Cho can body block extremely well. We've discussed this before. And always keep in mind, Cho'Gall as a hero always has the win condition in the game. How Cho'Gall wants to win is reaching the late game. He doesn't care so much what happens in the early game because he cannot force kills. He cannot do much. He gets shut down by a lot of stuff. Just focus on not falling behind until you get your powerful talents. Until you scale numerically because you have higher scaling than other heroes. A lot of the time, Cho'Gall will just be double soaking because hitting heroes is spooky. They fire back. Minions are not spooky. They just sit there and die and give you XP, and XP is great because XP gives you power spikes, and power spikes are what Cho'Gall is all about. Are there any questions so far? And I'll be showcasing some tricks in game in a custom.
Who should I pick?
Some relatively decent health hero without much mobility. Maybe like Zarya. I will be switching to showcasing the game so you can have audio. In Duo, should the more experienced player pick Cho or Gall? Cho, because Cho is the one that requires you to know about positioning. Cho's the one that is making target calling decisions, etc. Cho is often just the harder part to play.
Be ready or be destroyed. We are the heralds of discord.
So first of all, what I wanted to showcase about the Q is that your Q slowly charges up and you can dash a distance. So here's where I dashed from, but if I reset my cooldown and I dash again, but I dash around the wall, you can see that my pathing goes a bit off. I like go all over the place. Now, in this case, it actually is reducing my total space because I'm going backwards a little bit. The game is a little bit confused about where I'm going. And the way that is because the edge of my Q hitbox isn't in pathable terrain. But if I do it through the fort and I end my path of the Q through the fort, it will actually just path me straight around it towards where I aimed it. I will be turning off minions. Which means that if you're a little bit experienced, you can get your Q to dash you much further than you could by just using it in a straight line. So if I use it right here, I can dash towards where my Q would normally put me, and also go around corners really quickly and take enemies by surprise. So say there's a Murden on the left of that, on the right of the camp, I can cut off his position just by queuing around. Say Murden is here, and I want to cut off his path here. I can go all this way, or I can go around, catch him by surprise. Now the other really important thing that I want to showcase is body blocking. So if we hop both teams to level 4, and say I meet a Zarya in lane. First, I'm going to showcase what not body blocking at all looks like, and then I'm going to showcase what it looks like if you're actively trying to body block them, keep them away from safety. So here I am in lane. I'm just going to attack Zarya, and she's going to run away. I hurt her a little bit. My Gall isn't cooperating, sadly. Hi, Gall. But then, if I catch her out in the lane, and I keep trying to get in the way of where she's trying to walk, I can deny her much more space. So I meet Zarya in the middle of the lane. Hello. I start auto-attacking her, and she starts running away. I deal much more damage to her. And especially around gates or around small corridors, such as right here. Hello, over here. Say Zarya comes into this nook canyon, she tries to move out the other way. I can just Q through her, or barely not Q through her, and body block her there. Get my Gall to detonate an E, etc. But in general, especially with talents, so I'm going to showcase what it looks with talents, because Cho at level 7 gets an extremely strong talent that is really just picked for escaping and body blocking, which is Power Surge. So I've recommended 2 talents on level 7, which is Firestarter, which is just a really nice healing talent. It's easy to use, it gets you lots of value, you can, even if you don't have heroes around, you can just get the 9-second W cooldown for healing on minion waves, for example. But Power Surge, it slows enemies who you hit with Q, and you gain movement speed while you are channeling Q and after you cast the ability. So if I hop out into the middle of the lane, and I find a Zarya, and I just start hitting her, and she gets out of range. But then, she can't move anywhere, because I'm blocking her. This can also be, for example, shove. So I meet Zarya and I'm like, Gall, shove. I didn't actually overtake her. If I call Gall, shove. I can completely block her path. In this case, we are tanking towers. It is a bit spooky. Usually you want to do this more with minions, especially if there's enemy heroes around. This is a lot spookier. But just in general, as Cho, try to practice body blocking.
Also level 10 slow.
Hmm? Oh yeah.
The ult slow.
Yes. And then, so I've talked about how good it is at level 7. But we have Twisting Never, and we have Hammer of Twilight. So a level 10 is when Cho becomes an absolute monster. So if I meet Zarya in the middle of the lane again, and we both get to full health, and Gall stops taking his trait because he's causing me to die to towers, I go and block her, and she literally just can't move. Even without the Gall ult there, usually in these kinds of situations, I will call to my Gall that, hey, I want to use ult. But even just Cho Q and Cho R are a lot of the time enough to kill people. So let's look at that. Body blocker. And you can see just how hard she's trying to get past me and how hard it is for her to actually do so. And then, hey, she's stepping out again, so I can just hop in and kill myself. But that is really, really, really important about Cho'Gall, because body blocking someone is basically a slow. It is a very, very powerful slow. And the best hero to practice it on in the game, in my opinion, is Cho'Gall. Like, other heroes are also good at body blocking, such as Tracer, for example. Despite her very low hitbox, she can spend all of her movement on body blocking. But Cho'Gall just has such a big hitbox that it's almost impossible not to get body blocked by him. If Cho is good at body blocking, does that mean he's good at body blocking his allies too? Try not to, especially melees. Though a lot of the time, you are not going to be playing Cho'Gall with melees. You'll be playing with a tank, but they have mobility of their own. They won't get body blocked by you very easily. And yes, I also don't slow or body block my allies. But keep in mind, if you're doing this near towers especially, that you want to have minions with you. Now I have minions turned off right now, but that is a good tip. Is there anything else that people wanted to see? Anything that they had questions about? I think that's most of the things I wanted to discuss. Any talents people have questions about? Because I've showcased which talents, but I haven't talked much about them yet. Feel free to also speak in the Discord. You don't have to type, though I don't mind either.
Can you show what the range of the instant detonated E is?
Yeah, so if I go to
Training demo, please.
Zarya, and I tell my Gall to to hold E, it will detonate right in front of me. Or on the target dummy, from about this far away, an instant detonation will hit the target dummy. And it is really quick after this comes out. And it even goes a little bit inside your own hitbox, even though the bomb is thrown away from Cho's hitbox. Also, there is one important bit about Cho'Gall that I do want everyone to know. And that is, if you have the dance hotkey or the stop hotkey bound, you can stop dancing at any time. You can also stop herfing at any time. Now, if Zarya comes over here and gets dismounted and shows her booty, press H. If you chain Harf Stop or Harf Dance, you can hunt people. It's fantastic. You can showcase play around level 20 build perma-stunning. Okay, so I've been showcasing how we chase Zarya around. I'm just going to showcase how obscene this hero is at the level 20 stage at chasing that same Zarya around. So, Consuming Blaze, Fire. I also sometimes pick Will of Cho, though I don't recommend this talent. You need 300 minions to die around you, or kills. If you go purely off of minions, it takes 11 minutes of non-stop double soaking to stack this quest. And it's not that good until it's stacked. Level 4, in auto attack build you want Seared Flesh. At level 7, it's either Fire Starter or Power Surge. Personally, I often prefer Power Surge. Then I always go for Hammer in this build. Twilight Veil is simply OP. Frenzied Fists is a stim drone, and this is turning Cho'Gall into Vala. So if I give Zarya, if I tell Zarya to run away, good luck running away now. I'm not even using abilities. Or well, I kind of have to.
Your strength is inspiration.
she just can't run away. I'll let you teleport to me.
Yes, thank you.
So, anytime I meet a hero out on the map post level 20, I will just do this. And my goal isn't even using abilities. That is just how much damage this hero shits out post level 20. Oh, I can't reset your mana and health. You have to do it yourself now.
Oh.
So, I will hop over to Zarya, slow her, knock her back. And she takes so much effort. I can even tower dive because, hey, I have 75 armor. What is what is towers to a 75 armor ogre? And then I get low, maybe I'll find some target dummies to heal off of. Very realistic in my games. And when you're hitting heroes, you heal for a lot of health with your W on them. But also, I can just have Gall do all the hard work, and permastun the Zarya for me. Gall. Wait, my Gall doesn't know how to use Twilight Frenzy.
Yeah, wait, I shouldn't use it when I just use W, my bad.
That's one important detail about Twilight Frenzy. Twilight Frenzy reduces the cooldown of Dread Orb to 2 seconds. So if you just use W, which makes it a 6-second cooldown, and then you activate Twilight Frenzy, you'll have 6 seconds of reduced cooldowns, all of which your W is ticking down during, so you haven't used Twilight Frenzy. So always, when you're using Twilight Frenzy, activate Twilight Frenzy first, and then use Dread Orb. Anyway, you can reset your own cooldowns. So, I can body block Zarya inside of the Gall stuns. She can try to walk away, I just knock her back in, there's more stuns, and it is kind of ridiculous. So let's try that again. Respawn yourself. Thank you. And Gall can just go and permastun this Zarya, who is running away. It's just insanely powerful at level 20. There's almost no duo at level 20 who can take on Cho plus Gall. And a lot of the time, Cho'Gall can in fact just literally 2v5. Now, the ridiculously short cooldown on Dread Orb even stacks with Nano Boost, because Nano Boost just says your cooldowns refresh faster, but this says your cooldowns are set to 2 seconds. So if you have a Nano Boosted Cho'Gall with Dread Orb, I'm going to showcase that real quick.
And Twilight Frenzy.
And Twilight Frenzy. I'm going to showcase that real quick. That is just a core deleter. This is the wrong full Skya. So if we go as a free man and Quasi selects Ana,
The apocalypse has come.
and say we got to level 20.
Be ready. We will stand together.
Quick tip, you can just favorite all your talents and rapidly select them like this.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent.
And accidentally have the wrong talent highlighted. Wait, I'm actually gonna fix that right now.
Choose a talent. Choose
Where the
a
hell is
talent.
upheaval? There you go.
Choose a talent. Choose a talent. 10 seconds.
10 seconds? Yes, thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. For Grano.
So I'm just gonna go and kill this fort because we need to kill forts before we can do anything. Yeah, cheat zone. Usually you would do this step a little bit before 20, I hope.
Well done, heroes.
But actually, let's showcase just what we do to a keep with this build. So actually over here. So, if Gall goes and activates Final Frenzy, Nano Boost.
Nano boost administered.
This is what Gall does by himself. I'm not even auto-attacking this, by the way.
That's incredible.
It's dumb. Now that was only a keep. But if everyone resets their cooldowns,
Yep.
and we do it to core, we outright end the game in a couple of seconds. And this is basically one hero doing it, because Ana isn't really a hero. You'll have two other heroes on your team doing stuff to this core. And yes, when you're doing this, Gall needs to have his W very close to Cho'Gall, so that the W doesn't spread out. Given that Cho'Gall has scaled late game, is it within the enemy's win condition to isolate other members other than Cho'Gall, or try to brute force focus Cho'Gall? Brute force focusing Cho'Gall post level 13 is very hard. A lot of the time, if you're looking at countering Cho'Gall, if you want to beat Cho'Gall up, there is a common misconception that this hero is good against Cho'Gall, because her Derma minigun does 4% of his health and then he's 30% But then you have to be auto-attacking a Cho'Gall as Tychus for 4 seconds. Now we can quickly showcase what that looks like post level 10. If Crazy goes and select Tychus. Early game, Tychus is indeed a little bit scary. You're just gonna go away from him. You're gonna go right click minions because minions give you XP and XP gets you to where you want to be. Good words to live by in HOTS. But post level 10, even in team fights, there just isn't much a Tychus can do to a Cho'Gall, because either Cho'Gall can disengage against the Tychus, Cho'Gall can out DPS the Tychus, or Cho'Gall can stun the Tychus. Post level 16, Tychus doesn't get the chance to minigun Cho repeatedly. And at level 10, Tychus just dies to Cho'Gall, which I will showcase. And if Tychus takes the big AR, they don't really have the ability to kill Cho'Gall anymore, because Cho'Gall gets to 30% and is healing off of his consuming fire. So just come to mid lane and come fight me. So General Tychus walks up, starts minigunning me, and I'll just be like, yeah, okay, cool. I definitely feel countered right now. And this isn't even with level 13. Tychus by himself is not a Cho'Gall counter. And in fact, I honestly just rejoice whenever I see a Tychus and he's like, ooh, bigger they are. It doesn't do anything to this hero. So, if Tychus tries to fight again, closer to towers, even then, he gets me to 40%, but then only the towers hit me. And pre-level 10, I'll show you, a lot of the time, we can just ignore the Tychus, because we're just going to clear the wave, and we're going to pick up a globe, and we're just going to go to the next wave. Wow. And then we're going to be here, we're going to one-shot the wave, and then pick up another globe. Tychus tries to rotate in towards us, but we have vision, he can't clear this without dismounting. Then we're mid lane. And yes, he will have teammates, obviously this is just a dummy situation, etc. But Tychus tries to go in for me, he's too low health, he overextended, he's dead. Tychus, if you play around him, doesn't do much. But Hawk, what are Cho'Gall counters? Well, I'm glad you asked. Can someone ask that? Anyone?
No.
Fuck. So, when you're countering Cho'Gall, there are multiple things to take into account. There's the fact that he has a hardened shield. Hardened shield is hard to play against. However, if Cho'Gall is isolated by stasis, such as Cocoon, such as Imperious ult, the Kidnap, such as Gorge. Hardened Shield gets activated, immediately runs out, because the Cocoon / Gorge / Imperious ult gets rid of it. It times out during it, and then you just focus the Cho'Gall right after. If you draft this with, say, something like a Greymane who can do some quick Cho'Gall damage, or other heroes like who can just deal semi-reliable poke without being threatened by Cho'Gall, such as Hanzo, that does a lot more to counter Cho'Gall than a Tychus. Stuff that isn't threatened by Cho'Gall and that can isolate him. What you can also do is you can decide to draft, say, Jaina, and then say they have an Ana, you just have a Nubrak Cocoon the Cho'Gall and you just kill Ana. Often either ignoring or isolating the Cho'Gall, getting him behind your towers with a hook, with a gorge, with displacement, Irol knockbacking him, etc. These are the strongest things you can do against Cho'Gall, and what he really hates. Because he only gets one Gall Shove, and his other movement ability, the Q, is interruptible. As a side note, 7-sided strike can be good against Cho'Gall, but if Kharazim does not fit into your draft, fundamentally, don't pick him against Cho'Gall. Because if Kharazim doesn't work with your draft, don't pick Kharazim. The heroes that you pick to counter Cho'Gall still have to fit in your team to actually be good. If you have a full-on backline team of heroes that cannot go in with you, Kharazim is a dead hero. He just doesn't work. So don't force heroes that don't work. And if you're placing against a Kharazim 7-sided strike, there are two options. Option 1, you're sad because you don't get to pick Twilight Veil and you pick Molten Block. Option 2, you have another tank, such as Muradin, such as Tyrael, whatever, that hops into the 7-sided with you and takes all of the damage, or spreads it out to where it isn't threatening. Now, of course, if you have, say, an enemy Stitches who hooked you into Africa, and then you get gorged, and then you're now on the towers, and then Kharazim 7-sided strikes you, there's a lot less counterplay for the Cho'Gall, and he gets beat up a lot more easily. And those are the kinds of situations where auto attack build doesn't work, where you're forced into the Q build. Because you have to play safe, you have to play for isolation, and you cannot get near the enemy team because they will ruin your day. Also, heavy macro pressure is really good against Cho'Gall. Just pushing down his structures, he has a hard time defending, especially in multiple places. He has a hard time taking camps. A Cho'Gall comp usually doesn't take camps well, so if you're taking your camps off cooldown, and maybe you can even sneak some enemy camps, it really sucks for the Cho'Gall team because they get behind in levels. You can zone him away from the lane. You can freeze the lanes on your side, and he has a really hard time stepping up to your side of the map. Now, these are all some higher level concepts, but in general, the easiest way to counter Cho'Gall, especially in public games, are just isolating him. Either isolating Cho'Gall himself or isolating his healer. Leoric is also an okay Cho'Gall counter, but he's not as strong as some people think. Because Entomb is good against Cho'Gall, but he can just Q out. And if you go Buried Alive and you're like, haha, Cho cannot Q out of this one. Well, guess what? Gall gets a teleport at level 20. He just ignores your Entomb with a teleport. Though, forcing him to not pick Twilight Frenzy is a win. And that is roughly all I have to say about Cho'Gall for now. Teleport ignores Gall ignores silence. Gall ignores stuns and silence. Gall can do anything he wants during all CC except time stop and stasis. There's one more thing that's very important to know, and that is that Gall, as a hero, does not get time stopped or stasised. And Gall is always at the same location as Cho. Now, what does that actually mean? It means that if you leyline seal a Cho'Gall, if you cocoon a Cho'Gall, if Cho'Gall goes into Molten Block, he will still contest capture points because Gall is there and Gall cannot be moved away from Cho. So Cho, by existing, counters leyline seal or cocoon boss steal attempts. And that's pretty cool. Cho'Gall, if he is on a point, cannot be stopped from contesting that point because Gall. I think that's roughly everything. Now I think just a little bit of gameplay, and I think we'll call it a day.
The apocalypse has come.
I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. Now, if anyone else wants to do a little bit of talking, my throat is starting to get a little bit sore.
No.
Wow, thank you, Fish. It usually doesn't take too long to get into a game. So, I think that went pretty well, presentation-wise.
Yeah, smooth.
I'll link the presentation in voice chit chat now. If you're watching this on YouTube, it will also be in the description. Oh, no, wait, that's not the shareable link. That won't actually get you in there.
Oh, there we go.
So,
Oh, and we even get it with a tank and an offlaner. High roll.
oh,
Ah, but they get Zagara. We go next. Unlucky.
I think
You know
we'll
what
be fine.
counters Hardened Shield? Zagara even fucking has two of those.
Stunning Zagara?
Stunning Zagara. Because Zagara is the one who deals the damage.
The time has come.
Yes.
Prepare for battle.
In this game, I will just keep going. I will just be going all of the standard talents, keeping in mind that if I'm trying to heal off of Illidan, he will negate it with his evasion.
Embrace the shadow.
The battle begins in 10 seconds.
This game, usually on Dragon Try, you don't actually want to you don't actually want to rotate between mid and bot, but I think our team comp kind of necessitates it, especially if the EDC isn't playing along.
Let the battle begin.
We listen for now.
Now you'll notice that Gall has trade active. That is what we want right out of the gate, so that I can press trade whenever we are about to take damage. So, I'm just focusing on the wave. I don't actually care about the enemy heroes. I'm gonna go catch bottom because this is Zagara. Ping top lane because our offlaner isn't doing his job. This is Zagara. I can't choose to hit her, but why not just hit minions? These are much nicer to hit. see Merlin will go for the eye because he sees it. So reveals himself.
You think yourself.
I'll just keep rotating here. Asgara's
Yeah,
overextended. So
Sagara is also pushing bot, so we have to maybe even stay there a bit more.
I should actually go up.
Like, we rotated away for 2 waves and she got half the tower.
Now the problem is that EDC isn't staying mid. Samro's half tricking. I'll catch one wave mid while EDC isn't going there. Gold trait.
Dragon Knight's power and lay waste to this forsaken land.
But you can see just how fast we clear the wave. Now body block her to death.
Strength is inspiration.
And as you can see, it's really hard for us to actually be doing the camps. I want to do the siege camp, but EDC isn't getting mid. Ariel alone in the lane is also kind of awkward. I guess EDC will go kill himself to the enemy team. But that's okay. We're scaling. And that's one thing to always keep in mind is Cho'Gall, you're scaling. There's no one mid, they might get a Dragon Knight. Wow, why not? Now I will purposefully not auto-attack any minions because I want to keep Seared Flesh up. Till the point where I had it run out anyway. And we lost a wave mid, but I'm gonna go over now. Gonna try one more time to convince the EDC. Nope, he has chat turned off, I think. Sadly, we did not get into where Zagara body blocking position. But she is just very far up. Ariel will get away from it. Scar steps too far up, we will just Q and kill her. I'm actually going to interrupt it, so I can't. I'm still waiting for my Q. I want to keep gold trade on for just a little bit after diving on her. Hopefully get the E, but she got healed. Activate trait before I get stunned, because it's really bad if I activate it after I got stunned. And Sagara's overextended. Sadly, she's also on creep. However, Merlin just jumped, so I'm just going to go on him. Slow him, get movement speed. Have Ragnar say hi, but that's okay. Just keep auto-attacking. Just keep auto-attacking. I win this trade, and I know that. Sadly, they don't seem to know that. I wouldn't really want to stay on point. I wish Ariel would be here, because then you have 2 people sitting on point. Cho'Gall is not a good point sitter for that reason, because anytime you're sitting on, say, a tower or whatever, if Sagara steps out one more time, she's dead. You have 2 people dedicated there. ADC is top. Someone did just die, so I'll have to catch mid. But again, we're doing quite well. We're ahead in XP as a Cho'Gall comp, which is a pure win. It does suck that Sagara is hitting our towers. But oh well. It also sucks that our team is dying. But I'll just go catch mid again. Again, I don't actually care that much about losing a little bit of structure health in comparison to just getting 20, getting levels, getting ahead. Now, Ariel cannot win bottom against the Sagara, but hopefully Samuro can win mid.
Okay.
Oh wait, okay. Keep in mind for this entire trade, I do have my trade on, not gold straight. And when I'm this low health, I would prefer Gull not to take trade at all. Because if we get caught in rotation, we are just dead without trade. I'm gonna group up with Aura for a heal and leave. Now I have Hammer. He jumped, and I interrupted his jump. I'm going to Q him just to slow him. And now we got a double kill. Sigara steps out too far in lane again, she will die.
That Q slow is crucial for body blocking.
Not crucial.
It improves it a lot.
Mm-hmm. I want to check for camp because Sigara has been missing for a bit. Nope.
Nah, Zagara is, I think she's healing up in Nidus when she misses.
But we can just force a kill on her like this. I haven't really been in danger this game, so I haven't had to communicate shove. But normally, anytime I'm in danger, I will be communicating that I want to shove. Oh, shove left. And I can just take trait and walk out. Now, Muradin Haymaker is very annoying for Cho'Gall, for example. Now keep in mind, we're chasing a Ragnaros. He mounted up, but I have a Gall, which is one of the best demounters in the game when chasing. I'm just gonna keep hitting minions with Muradin on the side. Keep in mind, every time we put down an eye, Muradin will just see it and hyper focus on it, which can also be used to bait him. If Gull had Twisting Never, I would likely have gone for that. It's still on 8 seconds cooldown, you can see the top right. And now we can dive. Oh, he willingly walks in, takes some damage. Now BDC will just guard the bottom point while I go top and help the heal. Nice. Help the Samurai's lane. Guys' Illidan is very overextended. Wait, he's not half tricking? Hello? Oh, my W still got him.
You are more demon than hunter, elf.
I don't think Samurai was realizing that we're actually winning the map. Oh wait, Sigara's going for point. I'm going to go for her. Shove.
I got the dismount.
Now my Q is almost up again. That shove was mainly just to get mount speed, by the way. But again, body blocking his Cho'Gall is insane. Now our bot lane doesn't seem to be doing too hot. Just gonna catch mid while I'm at it. Some globes because I want some healing, and leave. Gull can clear while I don't dismount, which is a very important thing to keep in mind. You don't actually need to dismount as Cho in order to clear waves. The only hero that can do that. That's okay. Now Gull really wants to go for this kill because he's an KDA player.
But it was a free kill.
Yes,
It was hard to go for. A little bit of communication between us two probably would have fixed that, but I'm busy explaining the game.
They are pushing top.
I'm gonna go help Illidan because I'm gonna go help Samuro because our Samuro doesn't know what he's doing. Shove. Again, just for the movement speed. Kill the fort while I'm at it. Now I can just queue myself back in. And I can keep gold trade on because anytime I'm in danger, I can just press F. Well, now, this is nice. Because he doesn't actually hurt me that much.
I don't like 1-2-1 easy though.
And now I can just kill Reg. Get a little bit off of his camp. And now I want to go find my Oriole. Couple of globes. Tap will fix me right up. I don't need to get that wave. Asgard did go for percentage damage, which is definitely the correct pick for her, even if she's not facing Cho'Gall. As you can see, I have speed hacks to get to this point. Clear a creep. If she extends one more time, shove! I can just Q in on her, knock her back with R, and kill her. We have an actual mosh pit this time. Shove. Get the movement speed. Chasing for kills here is a bit overzealous, but it's quick match, whatever. I'm gonna go Harfing to defend bottom. Hopefully ADC can go on to the shrine and we can actually get the K for once. Illidan is a sad panda. And we're 20. Should I downgrade to Dragon Knight? I'll downgrade to Dragon Knight. Fuck you! Gall can interrupt objective channels anytime he likes. Oh well, I'm gonna lose. I mean, my team can do what it wants. I'm not following.
I literally don't have an E button anymore, so I don't like this.
I mean, like I said, we downgraded. Oh well. We'll upgrade to go kill their team.
Or we just finish without ever showing up to good late game talents.
That's okay, we'll get to showcase Gall W Encore. Shove. Slow them. Aww. Cho'Gall wants to end. Oh, Samuro. I don't think they can end. They still had 2 dead.
I mean, their DPS is also ass. Like, Illidan is just... He's just sustainable on structures, he doesn't actually take them quickly. Plus ETC.
You could have ended with Psychotic Break. Not true. Because then we don't have Twilight Nova and Gall does less damage.
Twilight Frenzy.
Lost.
No,
No,
Twilight
Twilight
Nova.
Nova.
Psychotic Break is at 13 now.
Oh.
Psychotic Break is not actually good for sieging anymore. It doesn't reset ult, it doesn't reset thing.
I mean, we just intentionally did not finish because we wanted to highlight team fights.
Yes, we want to highlight Cthulhu's Gift and...
pretty sure that's what happened.
yes. Exactly. No, I just wish Ariel let EDC have his death if he wants to.
ETC went straight value anyway, so...
Oh, yeah, straight value? Ooh, straight value.
Oh, look. Oh, Dancing Muradin, Pog.
Anyway, Samuro can do what he wants, maybe die a little, and let's kill Ragnaros.
The Dragon Knight's ancient
Sure.
strength.
This one. Oh, my god is bad. I mean, he has ping.
Put an end to this cursed realm.
Hello?
Ping.
Can you hear me? I'm lagging.
Ah, yes. Do you have Psychotic Break? Do you have Twilight Frenzy?
Oh wait, I cannot ping it. What the fuck?
What? Oh, do you have it?
I can't ping. Yes, I have it.
Take trade. Ah, we can just end. GG. And as you can see, Cho, the superior hero, had more hero damage.
Together we have triumphed.
And yes, Gaul does work in the Dragonite. The two things that don't work about Gaul are Gaul cannot use shove and Gaul cannot use his E because Cho can't for E. But Gaul can Q, he can W, he can Psychotic, he can Twilight Frenzy, he can Eye of Kilrog, he can take trait, which is free while he's in the Dragonite, and he can ult.
Oh. Yeah, I knew that with the trade.
Oh,
Definitely didn't.
yes, exactly. Wait, I think we would have ended if you had trait. Oh well. Hello, can you hear me? Lag?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Anyway, I think that's about everything. Any questions about this game? Or about the playstyle, or what I showcased? I used to think Cho'Gall was just an interesting flavor character for new players to introduce to the game. But he actually has some genuine potency. Yes, he does. He is a very fun hero, and if you decide to main him, he is quite disgusting in uncoordinated games like this. Main Cho'Gall? Yeah, I decided to main Cho'Gall. Like I said, I'm a recovering Cho'Gall addict. Casual 68% win rate, 66% in ranked, 67% in quick match, and 76% in unranked. Do you have a dedicated Gaul? I have two. I have my Gaul friend and I have my my Quasi. How do you main Cho'Gall if no one wants to play with you? That's a good question. So we have this called in-game chat. Now, if we leave some random one, because you only can be in 5, and you /join Cho'Gall, you will see that there are 22 people in here who will want to play Cho'Gall with you. So all you have to do is left-click the Cho'Gall channel. Cho'Gall anyone? ? Press enter, and you will find some random ass Galls. Maybe some you'll even want to play more with. Where do I post these notes? Obviously, Melee Assassin is where they belong, but I don't think that's where people will look for them. Yes, post it in guides. In fact, I'll give you the guide writer role so you can post them there. And can you also then post your Alarak notes there? Thank you very much, Annette. And that's where I'll stop the video. Thank you for watching.